Hello, grade 7 and 8s. I am not able to come to school today, and because of that, I am going to give you this little lesson like this. Hopefully today you have your novels fully finished. You've read them front to back, hopefully. If you have not, then you need to make this a top priority to get this done. Okay, so you don't want to be too far behind. But assuming that you are finished reading your novel, the next step is to start writing your book report. So what I have here inside the language section in the reading folder of the language section, at the very top here, I've got this, it's called the book report guide. And this tells you everything that you need to know to get your start on this part of the project. So um, the first thing that you need to do is you need to create your introductory paragraph. And your introductory paragraph is going to have these 4 bulleted items here, which is actually more than 4. So the first one here is the book title and the author's name. So that's actually 2. And the book title needs to be either italicized or underlined, okay? Then you're going to have the description of the setting, which gives the time and place, okay? And time and place are essential to all of your books. Then you're going to have your introduction to the main characters where you name them and you say like who they are and how they're interconnected with each other. And then you're also going to have an introduction to the theme of the story. Now, you have to decide what the theme of your story is before you can do this part. So you need to kind of take a step back, look at your book, and ask yourself, like, what is the big overarching theme of this? So to help us through this, what we're going to do is we're going to look at these samples. There's 2 samples here that were written about the book called Where the Red Fern Grows, okay? And you can see that they have chosen to do italics for the title of Where the Red Fern Grows. You could choose to do yours underlined. I'm fine with either. But let's just look at this. So the sample number 1, it says, Where the Red Fern Grows, written by Wilson Rawls, is a story of 12-year-old Billy and his 2 dogs, Lillian and Old Dan. Where the Red Fern Grows takes place in a valley in the rugged Ozark Mountains on the banks of the Illinois River in Oklahoma and is a story of love, loyalty, and courage. That last bit here, the love, loyalty, and courage, that is that theme that I was saying before, the theme of the story. Okay, so in the second one here, they have the same basic information, but they have done them in a completely different order. Okay, so you can choose whichever order that you like, but you want to make sure that your paragraph flows nicely from one item to the next and that it doesn't sound like a list. Okay, if you're like, the book title is, the author's name is, the setting is, the main characters are, the theme is, then it's going to be a big long list, and that's not going to be nearly as nice as if you weave it skillfully the way these 2 samples are done. Okay, so you need to come up with your introductory paragraph. That's the first thing you need to do. You don't need to use the practice box. You're just going to type it. And then, use present tense verbs when you write your book report. Okay, guys, that's a very handy tip of the day. Make sure you do present tense. Now, after you do your introductory paragraph, then you are going to do the body of the paragraph, or the body of the writing. This is where you're going to start with talking about these highlights of the plot. Now, you've already done the vast majority of the work for this already because you did that 1 sentence per journal entry all the way through while you were reading. And that's going to be your plot right there, cover to cover. But it only wants the highlights of the plot, and there might be far, far too much information there. So you need to go and reread what you've done. Make sure you're putting it in present tense if it isn't there already. And then you need to kind of cut it back, make sure it's the highlights that are the important bits and not just interesting stuff, okay? Now, the next part that you need to do, and this should be a different paragraph, and this might actually even take you 2 or 3 paragraphs. Don't try to put it all into one if it's going to be a full page of typing. This next bit here is where you're talking about the characters. And so you've actually already done your pre-writing work on this one as well, because I asked you to complete that chart where the character's name was in the middle, and then there were those character traits that went along the outside, and then the proof of those character traits. And that's where you're putting this information in here, okay? So you're going to write about each character. You're saying, they're loyal because of this, this, and this. That's the spot you put that, okay? Then you're going to talk about the settings, including the time and place. Then there's the conflict and resolution and the theme that runs throughout. And they give you a long list here of ideas for theme. Okay. Then to do this, the first thing, then you're going to do your conclusion where you tell us the end. Okay. Don't leave us on a cliffhanger. Don't expect us